I thank the Lord each and every day for getting to live in a place like Idaho. I feel so blessed, but it wasn't always like this. Before I relocated to Idaho, I'm going to be honest with you, I was pretty fearful of exactly how my life would change. At least when I was living in other places, I knew what my day to day would look like and my expectations were set. There was nothing more uncomfortable for me than not really understanding what the community was going to be like and what living life in Idaho would actually be like for myself and my family. So in this video, I am going to explain exactly how my life has changed since I've relocated to Idaho. Let's jump right into my list. Water. You will not believe how different life is when you have access to water, when you're not worried about drought or some astronomical water bill. We water our lawn all summer long. We water our garden, and it does not cost us any extra money at all. Where we are located and where many, many families relocate to here in Idaho, you will receive irrigation water, and this cost is baked into your very low HOA dues. You're required to keep your lawns green depending on where you live, and it is not going to be a financial burden on you and your family. We do not cut our showers short. We flush our toilet each and every time we go to the bathroom, and never once when it has rained have I put a bucket outside so that I can water my plants. It is absolutely incredible the access that we have to water and at low or no cost. There is one pro tip that you need to know is that not every HOA that requires a green lawn also provides irrigation water. And in those communities, you are looking at potentially spending $500 in a summer month just to keep your lawn clean. There are not a ton of those communities, but some of them are very popular communities for families to relocate to. We are the #1 relocation team here in Idaho. Give us a call, shoot us a text, or write us an email if you're thinking of relocating here so that we can make sure you do not end up in a community where you have no clue that you're going to spend $500 a month to water your lawn when you could do it for totally free or low cost, like what we do. But guys, as far as water goes, what a blessing to be able to water our lawn and not worry about the bill at the end of the month or not having water left over at all. Next up, I run my air conditioner all summer long and I run my heater all winter long, and I am not worried about the bill. It is so crazy how different the cost of living is here in Idaho, and I did not know what true freedom was like until I could set the temperature to what was most comfortable for me and my family, not for my bank account. I am so grateful that I can run my air conditioner and run my heater and not have to worry about the cost. Restaurant service. The restaurant service here is so good. When you go out to eat, you are going to have great service. I don't know if it's just because the community here in general is full of good, happy people, or if it is because the minimum wage for service here is $3 an hour. So everyone tips. They're working hard for their tips because that is what they're showing up for each and every day. So I don't know the exact reason. I'm sure part of it is because they are so dependent on tips. So they're working hard, but going out to eat is so pleasant. The other thing is it's much more affordable to go out to eat here in Idaho because they're not paying those high wages. So the experience when you go out to eat here is awesome, and I guarantee you are going to get out and do it even more. The other thing that you're going to do even more is enjoy community events. I attend a ton of community events with my kiddos and my friends, and I guarantee that you're going to get out and attend community events even more than you do now. I think there's a handful of reasons for this. I think one reason is because it is clean and safe. You do not feel like you can't go to your local park or enjoy community events because you're worried about gang violence or whatever it is, homelessness, people sleeping on the streets. It is just absolutely so different being able to go out and enjoy the community events without looking over your shoulder. So people are more excited to get out and do so. I think the other reason why is the cost of living here is significantly lower. So the keeping up with your Joneses energy is just not a thing out here. It's much more laid back. And a lot of people report to me that, their wife maybe had been working to help out with the bills and that's no longer necessary, or maybe mom and dad were both working a lot of overtime and now they're just working normal, 9 to 5 job, and they have a lot more hours available to them to enjoy at community events with their family. I think another reason for it is because we actually have the third latest sunset here in Idaho compared to any other state in the country. So when the sun is up until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night in the summertime, it gives you a lot more time to get out and go enjoy those community events. So I think the affordability, having more time available to you, more sunlight available to you, and then just the safe, clean environment is a big reason why a lot of people are getting out and enjoying those community events more. I also think too, because there are so many people who are political refugees who have relocated here because they want a better life and they want to raise their families in community or retire in community, that they're really getting out and getting involved and attempting to make friends. So community events here are epic. They are almost every single day. There is never not something to do, and it is so, so much fun. So I really encourage you, get out and enjoy those community events. Vaccinations. When it comes to vaccinations and medical freedoms, things are so, so different here in Idaho, at least here in the Treasure Valley. You do not have to vaccinate your kids, and no one is going to pressure you into taking experimental drugs like they do in said other places, maybe, right? I have not had to do anything that I'm uncomfortable with. I have not had to put anything I'm uncomfortable with into my children's bodies. And it has not been an issue as far as like preschool or school goes. And that has been awesome. The other thing that has been a very different experience is our medicine in general. There is a lot of access to functional medicine and alternative medicine practitioners here in Idaho. And there are also membership-based medical practices. So my practice that I go to is $99 a month for myself. And then I get a kiddo with that. And then my husband's 99 and we get our other kiddo with that. And we can call our doctor on the phone instead of going in there. When we do go in, we can talk about multiple things going on all at once. It's not run by the insurance companies in the same way that a lot of people are tied down in other states. And it is just so incredibly different. I'll give you an idea of exactly what I'm talking about. I was out of state. I had clearly strep throat. I had sores. I was able to shoot a little video to my doctor, and then they called a prescription in, and it was like, there you go. I don't know any other places, I haven't heard yet, that are offering services like that, like they are here in Idaho. So if you want more information about where I go and where I take my family, don't hesitate. Always reach out, give us that call, shoot us a text, or write us an email. We'll definitely help get all of that situated for you or point you in the right direction. Feeding my family. Feeding my family looks so different than it did other places. I literally buy eggs from my neighbors. I get my meat and my produce from local farms, and it is so, so cool and such a blessing. It keeps the cost down, and I tend to think that the food is a little bit more healthy when you know who is growing it or raising the animals. Driving. Okay, driving. There are some good things about driving in Idaho and some bad things, and they are both very different from what I am used to. So I think this is important to talk about. You should know it is very difficult to drive here at night compared to other places. They don't have the same little reflectors or street lights all over the Treasure Valley, Boise, Idaho, like they do other places. So it can be very difficult. Instead, they use reflective paint, and the reflective paint wears off very, very quickly or gets dirty and becomes not so reflective. The other thing is the streets, as people have continued to move here, they've not done a great job of keeping up with the changes. So what do I mean by that? Let's say they add an extra lane to make more room for the cars. Let's say that was a turn lane before. They're not going back over the old arrow that was painted on the ground and covering it up. So you'll just be driving along, and then all of a sudden there's a random right-hand turn arrow in the middle of the road. Like, that's not supposed to confuse us, or is that a good way to prevent car accidents? No, it's awful. But what is better about driving in Idaho is there is a lot less traffic on the freeway, and the speed limit is 65. People are not blowing up and down the freeway 100 miles an hour or driving in the shoulder to get away from traffic or rush to get wherever they're going. It is just so different driving on the freeway here in Idaho, and I am forever grateful because I have never myself been a lover of driving on the freeway, and I really don't mind doing it here in Idaho. I will say I don't do it very often. Maybe once every few months. I don't have to use the freeway very, very frequently, and that's been really lovely too. Parking. I don't pay the astronomical parking when I go downtown that I used to pay in other places. I have paid 40 bucks, 60 bucks for an evening out when I lived in Seattle. You name it, astronomical parking costs. In Boise, depending on where you park, it can be $0 up to just a few dollars. It is nothing like it was when I lived in Atlanta, Seattle, Los Angeles, or San Diego. It is much, much more affordable. Taxes, our property taxes are nothing like they are in other states, and that has been so wonderful and such a blessing. I actually made an entire video about property taxes that I'm going to link here for you. It takes a deep dive into exactly what that's going to look like. So check that out. And until the next video, be blessed.